Well, good afternoon. My name is Reverend Adam Blondes. I'm the senior minister here at McAllister Plymouth United Church, and on behalf of this vibrant, intergenerational, justice and peace-loving congregation, I want to welcome you all to this wonderful, special event today. It is our pleasure to be hosting this event. This congregation has had a long history of a commitment to justice and peace, and this feels like an event that matters to us, not just to host, but members of the congregation are here, and we're just delighted to welcome you all today. It is my pleasure to now introduce to you Rehab Nahil. She and her family are originally from Aleppo, Syria. Since arriving in the Twin Cities, she has become a leader in the Twin Cities Syrian American community and is one of the organizers of this event. Welcome. Please come forward, Ms. Nahil.
All right. I'm not a leader. Thank you, Pastor Blondes, for your gracious welcome and generosity opening this church, this wonderful church, to aid the Syrian people. Thanks also to your magnificent staff who helped put everything together. Thank you so much. And I'm so grateful that you're all here. And a quick thanks to my husband, Saad. He's going to be the MC today. He agreed to do so, despite his crazy schedule and finals at the university. But to be honest, he didn't have a choice. So. I'm a member of CISPOS, MN-CISPOS, which stands for Minnesota Committee in Solidarity with the People of Syria. That's a group that initiated the event today. We are an organization of Syrians and non-Syrians who are in total empathy and solidarity with the people of Syria in their struggle for freedom and dignity against 5 decades of dictatorship. We're honored today to have Congresswoman Betty McCollum here today. She's known as a strong voice for women, for the environment, for peace, and the Hmong and Native American society in Minnesota. We are extremely pleased last year when she took a courageous stand, unlike most Minnesota representatives, to oppose a bill creating unfair obstacles for the refugees from Syria and Iraq. Instead of playing to people's fears, as many wannabe politicians want to, whose name we don't want to utter here, but one hint, orange tan. She opposed a bill. Congresswoman McCollum has taken a leadership role in supporting the admission of refugees from war. She has fought bravely against the scare tactic of viewing refugees as terrorists. Congresswoman McCollum stated, and I'm quoting, "These are innocent and vulnerable children, parents and elders who are seeking protection from murderous armies, terrorist groups, and death squads. The perpetrators of the Paris attack were ISIL radicals with European citizenships, not refugees." I'm deeply honored and proud to now give you Congresswoman Betty McCollum. Thanks.
It's a beautiful day. I'm glad the windows are open so that we have the sunlight in here. I want to thank the church for opening its doors. I was seeing the congregations for caring. I probably got the name wrong, but we had a wonderful opportunity to gather here and talk about climate change and what we needed to do as a global community to battle that. But today we're here as a community to talk about what we can do to help the people of Syria. And I'm a history teacher by trade. So I'm going to kind of just remind people of a couple of basic facts here. Since the conflict in Syria began more than 5 years ago, the people of Syria, and especially women and children, have forced to be on the run. This conflict has triggered the world's largest humanitarian crisis since World War II. Millions of Syrian refugees have fled to neighboring countries, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, as well as countries in the European Union. And today it's estimated that there are 13.5 million Syrians needing humanitarian assistance. More than the 4.5 million Syrians that have become refugees, while more than millions have been displaced internally within their own country. Since this conflict began 5 years ago, 300,000 people have been killed, including 1.5 million who have been wounded and disabled. More than 3 million young school children have been exposed to war and violence. Post-traumatic syndrome will haunt them. They have lack of basic necessities, food, water, sanitation, things that we all take for granted today, and many of them have lost an opportunity to go to school to receive an education. And thousands of women and girls have been exploited, they've been abused. And I say this because we do have to talk about the grim statistics sometimes from the conflict in Syria. And if we don't talk about the grim statistics, it makes it even harder to ask for a global response in order to deliver the life-saving assistance, which includes food, drinking water, shelter, and emergency medical supplies. So I condemn these acts of violence, but I want to commend your acts of charity to help the people of Syria, especially that we're here together as a coalition of interfaith groups. Your work and action today are important to the people of Syria, but they're also important reminders to the people in this community, the state of Minnesota, and the United States of what we share as a common value. Over the years, and I normally don't single people out, but I am today, I've had the opportunity to work with Dr. Wally Cooley, a Syrian-American doctor here in St. Paul. And he came to my office as he was trying to figure out how best to deliver humanitarian medical supplies to his home country. And he and other doctors were going to go over to make sure that the supplies got there and to provide aid. He was in my prayers along with others as they went. They put everything on the line, their own lives, to assist others. And so for those of you who are gathered here today, your prayers, your thoughts, your actions, your donations, they come together in a common purpose to support our fellow Americans and fellow human beings who find themselves trying to right injustice. We need not only to extend our hands to help the people of Syria, in Syria, but we have to welcome them in our communities. I believe that this country is deeply rooted in a spirit of welcoming asylum seekers and refugees from all over the world. Many of us have family members who came here for those reasons. Some of us had family members who had a choice as to whether or not to come. I just found out, and I won't mention the company, I think you can figure it out where you can find out your genealogy, and confirmed it with someone I have met from my family since then. My family came over here as indentured servants. For over half a century, the United States has been that place, that hope, that opportunity as a world superpower where people can be given an opportunity to find peace, to have dignity, and to raise a family. So we need to extend our open and welcoming hand to those who are fleeing persecution and genocide. And I do believe that Minnesota does have a unique role in this. We have been opening, we have been welcoming in friendship. We have, in my lifetime, welcomed refugees and immigrants. Just think of some of the countries: Afghanistan, Burma, Congo, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Iraq, Sudan. Those are the recent refugees in my lifetime. but as a young adult, we were welcoming people from the conflict in Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Hmong, as well as people who were from Laos, of Laos. So Minnesota, as I said, has a tradition of welcoming those who have been displaced by war, strife, and persecution. And they have made our communities all the richer for that. So we can and we must continue to offer a hand of welcome to those most vulnerable in the world. And so I have to say, it has been shocking. And it has been beyond belief for me to witness what I see sometimes is entirely un-Minnesotan, and I'm going to say un-American. The tone and the tenor. And I'm just going to mention the presidential primary as one example of that. It has to feel like a constant bombardment and assault on many in the community who are extending a welcoming hand, but I can only slightly imagine what it must be like for those in the community who are new to here or have family members that they want to extend a hand to come here to. Hateful rhetoric, insults, it's hurled at entire regions of the world, entire ethnic groups, and nationalities. That just goes against our deep, long-standing American values, and values that I'll stand up for, values that you're standing up for, and a belief that has made, I think, this country the greatest on earth. Being elected to Congress, I now have a passport, and I've had the opportunity to travel so many places in the world. And I have met with parliamentarians, and not this Monday, but next Monday I'll be meeting with parliamentarians from the World Bank. And they look to Minnesota, and they look to the United States, because we have problems with racism. Yes, we do. We have problems with not always being welcome. We know that. But we recognize it, we acknowledge it, and we work on it. And that is what makes us so special. And that is why our Scandinavian brothers and sisters from Norway and Sweden, Denmark, and other places around the world, they come here to the Twin Cities, and they talk to interfaith groups, and they talk to the American Refugee Committee, and they speak with the groups that welcome and embrace refugees here. So Syrian refugees, the women and children who are fleeing the carnage of war and collapse of food and clean water systems, they're just struggling to survive for another day. They are not terrorists. And so in late 2015, President Obama announced it was a modest number of Syrian refugees, 100,000 for admission to the United States, and that would have increased our overall refugee population's ceiling of 85,000. Now, he did that in light of knowing what he could get the funding to support. Because we just can't welcome, we also have to support, do we not? So I think we could do better. But as many of you know, who have worked in refugee resettlement, you're familiar with the rigorous and lengthy screening by the U.S. Department of State and the Department of Homeland Security. I know it well, and there are a lot of safeguards that already were existing in current law. Our community is well prepared to work with those local refugees and resettlement agencies, like the International Institute of Minnesota, Lutheran Social Services, Catholic Charities. They have a tremendous experience in resettling thousands of previous refugees in Minnesota. They have a record of working with you to make sure that there's success in doing so. So we're here today to know that there's so much more we can do. And we're also here today to remind people of what is happening outside these windows, where the warm sun is coming in, where we have been blessed by having food to eat, friendship to share, and water to drink. So as we know that we cannot take these gifts that we are given for granted, we know that we must extend a welcoming hand. I thank you for standing up and speaking out that refugees should not be persecuted or re-exploited, or re-traumatized, or used as political game pieces to score political points. So with your gathering here today, you are demonstrating as a nation and the state, we can do much better than that. And your gathering here today gives me the re-energization I need to go to the House floor and say, in Minnesota, in the 4th Congressional District, we don't preach fear, we preach love. We open our arms. So I can't thank you enough for including me here today. I'm grateful for all of you for organizing this event. And let us remember the people of Syria in our prayers, and all those aid workers and volunteers, and yes, even people from Minnesota who continue to put it all on the line and risk their lives to help a mother, a child, and an elder in need. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for exemplifying the best of America.
Thank you, Congresswoman McCollum, for your support and your time. Hello, my name is Saab Saas, better known as Rehab's husband. So about 2 months ago, on a peaceful evening, Rehab asked me, so what are your plans on April 3rd? And I didn't even look at my calendar. I said, I don't have any plans because my board exam is on April 5th. She said, oh, because we have an event that day, so we wanted you to be the MC. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I don't think I can do that because I'm studying for my board. That was 2 months ago, and nothing came up again, except a week ago, a few days ago, I received an email from Terry and Andy says, okay, here's the schedule and you're the MC for the event. So, yeah, I agreed to be the MC here. So, but I'm delighted and I'm really honored to be here. And I thank you all for giving up a very nice, beautiful day on a Sunday to come here and show your support for the Syrian people. It's my honor to introduce the next speaker, his name is Mustafa Jamali. He serves as a Congressman Keith Ellison Lead Aides on Foreign Affairs. He is the recipient of the 2011 Josie Johnson Human Rights and Social Justice Award at the University of Minnesota. So please welcome Mustafa Jamali.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for hosting this event and for inviting Congressman Ellison. Unfortunately, he's on a flight, I believe, to Argentina on a congressional delegation today and could not be here. But he wrote a letter for me to read today, so I will pull that up. He writes, "Dear friends, thank you for inviting me to this community gathering. Unfortunately, my schedule does not allow me to attend, but I'm with you in spirit. What started as a nonviolent protest advocating for democracy and basic human rights delved into a conflict characterized by the use of chemical weapons, barrel bombs, torture, forced displacement, and rape as a weapon of war. More than 300,000 Syrians have been killed, and nearly 10 million people, half of Syria's population, has been forcefully displaced. Life for Syrians has become hell on earth. As Assad continues to cling to power in spite of internal and international opposition, Syrians have been fleeing their homes for safety. We do not have to sacrifice our humanity to ensure security. These refugees go through a very comprehensive vetting system that oftentimes takes more than a year, and multiple federal agencies. Closing the doors on fleeing refugees is exactly what Daesh, otherwise known as ISIS, wants. It also means blaming the victims and abandoning our nation's history of providing refuge to people escaping violence, war, and religious persecution. Governor Dayton made no mistake about where Minnesotans stand in honoring our long tradition of accepting refugees. And I commend you all for your passion to stand with the Syrian refugees. I am thankful that some of the brightest minds in Minnesota are here today to talk about this issue and to inform ourselves on what Minnesotans can do. And I'm dedicated to this mission as your member of Congress. Thank you for the invitation. I wish you all the best and peace and stability in Syria. Congressman Keith Ellison. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mustafa, for coming and reading Keith Ellison's message to the people here. I believe the next on the list is Mazen Halabi. He is a Syrian American activist here, and he will read Mayor Chris Coleman's welcome statement. So please welcome Mazen Halabi.
I'm honored to read the mayor's statement today. Dear attendees, thanks to the many Twin Cities residents and McAllister students who came out for today's fundraiser. The images on the evening news are heartbreaking. The numbers are staggering. 5 million Syrian refugees outside the country, and 7 million Syrians are displaced within the country. The war continues to force Syrians to flee for their lives. While there have been many negative comments about refugees from political candidates during the election cycle, Minnesota has stayed true to the history as a welcoming state. St. Paul has a long history of welcoming refugees and immigrants from across the globe. These new residents have enriched our city. We continue to welcome them and other people fleeing violence and oppression. The Syrian American Medical Society has provided medical services to more than 1 million Syrians in both the refugee camps and inside Syria. Several Minnesota doctors have volunteered with SAMS. We're proud of them and all of those who continue to reaffirm that in Minnesota, we are a caring and welcoming people. Mayor Christopher Coleman, thank you.